Hey everybody, welcome back. Our second guest today is Miss Thalia, and you are an officiant.
Yes.
Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, a wedding officiant. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you are here in Fresno?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so I got married in Vegas, and I didn't have to shop and interview an officiant.
Okay.
So this is all new to me.
Okay.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure
certainly.
so many of you brides
It actually
don't
is.
even know
Mm-hmm.
that you can do this.
Correct. That
Right?
is correct, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell me about what you do,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll kind of talk a little bit about how people can find you and what their options are. So,
Certainly.
yeah, so what do you do?
So, my name's Thalia Arenas. I am from Thalia's Wedding Services. I'm a wedding officiant, which in other terms you can say I'm a minister, because a lot of people are not familiar with the term wedding officiant. They are used to like minister, or maybe just getting married at the like county clerk's office, right, with one of their clerks. So they're not familiar that there are officiants out there that can actually perform the ceremony in like their desired location to their particular needs. So there's a few here in the Central Valley. Me and another person are the only ones currently, at least here in Fresno, that can do bilingual services.
Uh-huh.
And I know that's definitely like a high need for English and Spanish, or just Spanish weddings. So that's something that's probably the population that I tend to work with the most, or that I contract my services.
Uh-huh.
But I can certainly non-denominational. I can do any kind of wedding. It can be religious or not. So one of the things I know that I think you have in mind is shopping for that wedding officiant.
Mm-hmm, yes.
And like trying to figure out like which one is going to be the best one that's going to meet all your needs.
Yeah.
So when you it's good, one of the search engines that you can use is weddings.com, and then you can find some wedding officiants that are on there. So that's one of the websites that I use or promote my services on. And so I would just say, like, when you're going to start your finding your wedding officiant, just kind of like Google it, or just ask some friends and things like that to start kind of getting the different ones that are out there, and then ask them questions. The same thing, kind of like the DJ asked earlier. How many years have you been doing it for? What kind of weddings have you done? Have you done small, large? Just to get a feel for your wedding officiant, and then figure out, like, are they open to different kinds of weddings? Because you may have some that are strictly do the heterosexual weddings. I actually can do for lesbian and the gay community as well. So I'll do LGBT weddings. And so other questions that you can ask are, well, are they going to provide a religious aspect to it, or are they non-denominational, and just different things like that. And what is going to be their attire for the wedding? Are they a more formal kind of wedding officiant, or are they open to your style? So, for example, for my brides, I ask them, what would you like me to wear for your wedding?
Oh.
Would you like me to be in the black gown, kind of like I'm sorry, I lost the term, but just your traditional black gown, or I can do like a kind of what I'm wearing now, like a suit. So
Uh-huh.
it's, and sometimes it's like, oh, what's a little bit more? We would like a little bit more formal, or we would like the traditional gown, or we would like you to be in a suit. And then I'll even ask them sometimes, and then what's the color of the wedding? So then I'll wear like a rose or something in the color of the wedding theme. So I like to, I'm kind of like, not that I'm decoration to the wedding, but like I like to go in the style of their wedding. Right. Because it all just kind of like flows together, and it just looks very presentable for their pictures and something that they're going to remember forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I had no idea. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And now, I have a question.
Yes.
Of course, I'm hosting this show. Of course, I have a question. What do you say? I mean, you're doing the ceremony. Is it like a script? Can the bride and groom ask you to talk about something?
Certainly. So I also, when they give me a call and ask me a few questions, I myself have questions for them, and I'll email them a questionnaire where they would fill out and return to me. And some of the questions are going to be, well, of course, if there's when's the wedding? Is there a rehearsal that I must attend? If there's what's the color? Are they having like a ring bearer and like the flower girl and things like that? Because that's all that is going to be incorporated into the ceremony. Mm-hmm. And so when I develop my script, I like to be able to throw those things in there and say, okay, now we present to you, the ring bearer, and I'll say his name, and then he'll come up and present those rings. Sometimes they don't have one, so all that has to be planned out during the ceremony.
See, but you make it very custom and very
exactly,
personable to the couple.
Correct, yeah.
Very
so I'll ask all those
cool.
questions to figure out exactly what they're going to have in their wedding, what they're not going to have. That way, like, I know how, and then from there I'll develop a script just for them. So I'll ask them questions about their relationship, when they met, how they met, the most memorable experience, some future goals that they have, and things that they would like mentioned. Sometimes I had a bride, for example, that wanted me to say during the ceremony or towards the end, just to thank all the people that couldn't be there but that really wanted to be there, and some of the family members that had passed away and that would have, of course, they would have liked to have been there. So I just brought them into as part of the ceremony as well.
Wow.
And then I also asked the couples, like, if they have their own vows that they would like to incorporate during the ceremony. So, then I can help them with their vows, and so
I'd be like, I love you.
Yeah.
I do.
They get really nervous. Most of the time, they prefer not to.
Yeah.
At least the couples that I've had, they were like, no, we don't want
so much extra pressure.
Yes, exactly. The bride has lots of pressures as it is. And so sometimes when they come to me, sometimes I get them, the couples, like towards the end when they've already planned out everything. And sometimes I get them in the beginning when they have nothing planned. They just know they need a wedding officiant. And so when that happens, they start utilizing me like a wedding planner, which is fine. Like, I'm there to help them in whatever it is that they need. Even though they're just contracting me for the wedding officiant services. Like, I'll refer them because I have contacts for like the DJ services, for cakes and things like that. So I like to kind of keep them going on things.
Yeah, that checklist can get crazy
when
you're getting married. And how long have you been doing this?
Since 2012. It's only been 2 years, but I've been doing my notary and legal services since 2008.
And do you always go to the couple, or you have an office where people can come to you?
Both, yeah. So I have a home office where I have a wedding room. Then also I can go to their venue. So if they are getting married at like a specific church, at a park, in their home, I can travel. So that's not a problem.
So what is the most out-of-the-box location you've been to perform a wedding?
It was in their living room, and this bride and groom were getting married because she was going to prison. And he wanted to marry her before she went to prison. So they wanted something fast in their living room. And so I know it's interesting, but that's probably been my most interesting wedding, I would say, because it was really simple and fast. And then I've done very like luxurious weddings. They have everything planned out from the bottom on up. They knew what they needed. And so, So
you've seen it all.
Pretty much, yes.
Almost 3 years that you've been doing
exactly,
this then.
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So let's see, is there anything that you've kind of, when brides are contacting you, questions that you want brides to know to ask, like specifically? We know, of course, we want to make sure you're available that day. I'm sure they want to know about fees, but is there another question in there that you feel like you want brides out there to know to make sure they're asking when they're shopping for an officiant?
Certainly. So some of the questions, I kind of mentioned them in the beginning, just kind of get familiar, feel comfortable with your wedding officiant. There's various wedding officiants out there, and so I would say get to know them, have like an in-person meeting. That way you get to know each other, and that's going to be the right person for you, because the way I see the wedding officiant, they play a very important role. And you're going to remember that person for a long time because they're the person that married you, right? So you want to make sure whoever that person is the right person for you, and that's going to give you those everlasting memories that you're going to enjoy forever.
Yes, I would hope that they would like the person marrying them.
Yeah, so I would say don't go right away with your first wedding officiant. I would say look around, get to know the different ones that are out there, and then make your final decision. I would say go with 3, and then from the 3, then bring it down to that one person that you really want to make that special day for you.
Good advice. Now, how can brides contact you?
You can contact me at my cell phone, 559-718-0405. And then they can also contact me on www.thaliasnotaryservices.jimdo.com.
There you go. See, I just learned so much stuff already. I know my mind is blown. I didn't even know I could have done this. Thank you so much for coming and being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
I can't wait for you to come back and tell me some more cool, crazy wedding stories.
Oh, yeah, certainly. There's always plenty of those.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We'll be right back with our next guest.